Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from a cold dead.
Alright folks, so we are coming down to it. This is video 5 in the Bug Out Bag series. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. So prepare yourself, go get some water right now, go get your popcorn, sit your butt down, find a comfortable place. Hopefully you're not on your phone. If not, I'm probably going to kill your battery. This is going to be a long video, guys. I got a lot to cover in this last segment. I decided I want to do this all as one piece. It's all kind of important. There's 3 things we're going to cover in this video. I've added something to it. So number 1, we're going to go over the weapons that you're going to carry in your bag or on your person in a bug out scenario. Clothing, extra clothing that you may want to have in your bag or as a separate add-on to your bag. And last thing is EDC, your everyday carry, and items you may want to have on you to help reinforce the redundancy concept in your bug out bag. So an extra flashlight, the extra pocket knife, you know, whatever. So we're going to go through all of those things. This is going to be a mixture of video like this and tabletop. I'm probably going to flip back and forth depending on what we're talking about, because it may be easier for me to hold just set stuff on the table for you to see it while I'm talking about, instead of me sitting here like a gomer, like holding it up like, you know, look, Vanna White style. Alright, so, but here we go, guys. I'm glad you stayed on. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. The thingy should be up there, I think. If you watch this video and you really like it, please do like the video and share it with anyone that you think this video might be helpful for. I really appreciate it, guys. So let's get going. Let's talk about weapons, and here we go. Alright, guys, so let's talk about the handguns. So this is what I carry. This is a Generation 3 Glock 19. This gun's probably got about 5,000 rounds through it in the last year or so that I've had it. I definitely put rounds downrange. It's actually in surprisingly decent shape for as much abuse as it's gotten. I mean, this kind of just gets tossed in the car, tossed in my bag, you know, shoved in and out of my holster. Very minimal holster wear too. All the guns you'll see have been safety checked, so don't whine, bitch, and complain about that, please. I can't stand that. So the reason I've chosen a Glock 19, honestly, is there's a couple very simple reasons. One, it's one of the most reliable guns on the planet. The Glock is basically the AK of the handgun world. They're relatively inexpensive. You can get used 19, well, you used to be able to get, right now you kind of can't. You can find used Glock 19s like Leo trade-ins and just on the used market for under $400 for a used one in very good condition most of the time. Even brand new, they're only $499.99, so it's $500 brand new. I did buy this one brand new from a FFL here in Phoenix. They had some bonus add-ons, you know, I got a couple extra mags with it and stuff, kind of as a promo deal they were doing, so it was worth the money. I've got another one that I picked up as a Leo trade-in, and it's in great shape. It's a Gen 2. This one, main difference between the Gen 1, Gen 2 and Gen 3 is the Generation 3 has the Picatinny Glock rail, and it has the beveled finger grooves here on the front. So that's really your main difference between the two. Everything else structurally is still the same. It's all Glock, always the same way. I like the way it fits in my hand. It's compact, it's got a good weight on it. I think the weight is, so the weight on this is it's 20.99 ounces unloaded, so it's 21 ounces unloaded, and loaded it comes in right at about 28 to 29 ounces depending on if you're running 15 or 17 with like a +2 base extension on this. So it's really a very nice option. The standard magazine capacity with this gun, you get 2 15 round magazines that come standard with it. It has the Glock Safe Action. It comes standard with a 5.5 pound pull and about 12 millimeters, half an inch of trigger travel. The reason they do that is Glock, and with their Glock Safe trigger, you can have this loaded, drop it, and this trigger is not going to go off until you physically pushed in this little lever here and then pulled the trigger to make it fire. So You can see that's it was empty. I'll even check it again for you. There you go, see, nothing in it. So as you can see, you're gonna have to take up that, and right there, that's your travel. Now the standard weight on a Glock is the 5.5 pound pull. I have done a little bit of trigger work on here. I've replaced, I've got a 3.5 pound ghost connector here and a competition trigger spring. And I've polished on the 25-cent trigger job inside here and polished some of the internal metal pieces that make the connections to give a smoother trigger pull. And right now this Glock is pulling at a nice flat 3 pounds. Now some of you might say that's too light for a carry gun. I completely disagree. I think 3 pounds is a perfect weight for a carry gun. I think it gives me excellent trigger control at that weight. I've practiced extensively with my gun at that weight and I don't have any issues with it. I have not modified the sights. These are the standard Glock sights that come with it. I shoot just fine with them. I didn't see any reason to do that. The internal work I did, the 2 pieces I replaced, cost me all of 12, I think 15, 20 bucks for the 2 pieces. I think it was like 12 something for the spring and like $4, 12 something for the connector and like $4 for the spring, and then 25 cents worth of polish to polish the internals. So $20 on the mods, and that was all I've done to it. I've been carrying this gun, a Glock 19, for several years now. I absolutely trusted my life with it. The 9mm cartridge I think is an excellent cartridge for carry. I have 17 rounds on me at all times because I don't actually use the Glock 19 magazines. I use my Glock 17 magazines, and I have 17 rounds at all times. I like it too because I can actually just lay my finger over the base of it and I can get a full grip on it using that as the pinky ledge. Now you're like, well, it doesn't look good. I don't care if it looks good. I'm all about function and use. Looks are the last thing I care about. If I cared about looks, I wouldn't have a Glock because they're not the prettiest things to look at. I care about function and keeping myself safe if I ever need to pull and use my gun. So I use 17 mags. I also do have a Glock 17. It is one of my favorite guns in the world, and that's why I've chosen the 19, because I like to save a little bit of weight. There's my 17. This is the Gen 2 17. I like the 19 because it saves a little bit of weight, a little bit shorter, more compact. This is the full size. This is the compact version. But it's nice that the Glock 17 round magazines actually fit just fine in my Glock 19. So that's the option I've gone with. Now, if you didn't want to go with the subcompact gun, you could move on and you could go with full size. So if you like carrying a full size gun, then you may want to consider a Glock 17. Also 9mm, a little bit heavy, weighs in at about 24 ounces unloaded, about 32 loaded, or 34 loaded really, because you got a little bit more weight with the extra rounds in the magazine. Excellent choice. Same as with the Glock 19. The only modifications this has a 3.5 pound ghost connector and a competition spring, $20 worth of modifications. This is pulling at about 3.25 pounds. Standard sights, never have replaced these. I've had this gun for 15 years, I think. Yeah, 15 years. I got this when I was 16. My parents bought it for me when I was 16, stayed in my stepdad's safe, and whenever we wanted to go shooting, this was my gun. So I've had this gun for years and years and years, thousands upon thousands of rounds. I've replaced the guide rod and spring. I've replaced all the springs in here, you know, just because of the age and the thousands of rounds on it. So I just, you know, did some upkeeping and replaced parts that wear out. With this gun, same barrel, never changed my barrel. Probably got more than 15,000 rounds in this barrel. No issues with accuracy at all. So this is a great option if you want a full-size gun. Now, as you can tell, I don't do steel framed guns. I don't like them. I think they're way too heavy. I don't want the extra weight on my person or in my system. So I prefer a polymer based gun, a polymer lowered gun. So the Glock, I like the reliability, I like the accuracy of a Glock, and this is my choice, is either a 19 or a 17. Okay, well, I'm not a Glock fan. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to be a Glock fan. If you're not a Glock fan, you might want to consider a Smith & Wesson. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P 9. This is the full size. This has the replaceable back strap, so you can choose small, medium, or large back strapping. It's got the 1911 beaver tail style on here. No grip safety, thankfully. Full size, full frame. It's got a full Picatinny rail. Excellent gun, great reliability, 4.5-inch barrel, I believe it's 4.25-inch barrel. You've got excellent Novak style dovetail sights. Just a great sight alignment. I'm trying not to see it there. There you go. Very Glock stylish, all polymer lower, metal upper, same thing. A little bit heavier on the weight on this one. Just how Smith & Wesson rolls, they're a little heavier. This is the M&P, the Military Police Edition. This is a great option. Now, for someone who may be a little recoil shy, you may want to consider one of these. This is the M&P 22. This is a 22 caliber Smith & Wesson. It is identical to the M&P 9 in size and weight. Identical. Now the only difference is I have a threaded barrel adapter on this 22 because I've got a 22 can and it's kind of fun to plink quietly. The grips are the same. You don't have replaceable back straps on this option like you do on the actual 9mm version. This one does have a ambidextrous safety. This model does not. So that's a different option if you're not into Glocks. Let me get that off the table. Say, okay, well, those are really expensive, man. I don't know if I can afford that, but I really want a good quality gun. All right, let's go to the used market. This is a Smith & Wesson Sigma 9. This is the SW9 VE edition. There is a newer version that has come out. I picked this one up a few years back, used for $150, and it came with 3 magazines, the case, and all the paperwork. It does have this very odd rail that you have to have an adapter to use, but that wasn't what I was concerned about. This is Smith's first version of a Glock. They actually got sued by Glock because of this model, and I think in the settlement, every time one of these sells new, they have to pay Glock some money. So it's because literally you take this part, it is identical inside to a Glock, except for the trigger. It's a little bit different on the trigger, but this upper is identical to a Glock inside. A little bit more rounded on the top here. This is a great thing. You can catch these on the used market even now. I've seen these at gun shops used for about $275 to $350 for one of these, and these are very reliable. I picked this up about 5 years ago. My grandfather just wanted something he could have in his house for protection. He doesn't shoot a lot. I found a great deal on this, so I picked this up and I gave this to him as a present, just so he had some kind of protection in the house, so he could, protect himself and my grandmother. They're getting a little older, and his strength isn't what it used to be, so having something that he can shoot reliably was a really good option. Also, this makes a great bug out bag option for one reason: it's cheap. You can get these cheap still. You can get this, put it in your bug out bag and leave it and forget about it. This way you're not worried about it because it's not real expensive and you're not gonna be too concerned. Obviously you want to store your bug out bag somewhere safe, but this is a great option too if you're looking to save a little money but want some reliability. So the Sigma 9. Okay, well, I don't like any of those options. Well, this is one more option. This is a FN P9. This one, they discontinued this one for some reason, which I think was stupid, because this is the best one they made. They have the FNX series and the FNS series, which I personally dislike greatly. I hate the handles on them. The way they did the grip sucked. This one has interchangeable back straps. You can actually add it, just slides over and locks in, has beaver tail if you want that. I didn't like it. I think it was good the way it was. This one's a little bit heavier, a little bit beefier slide on this one. This one did come, it doesn't have a safety, but it has a decock. I actually took it off because it sat out really far, and I just didn't like it, so I took it out. Didn't affect any of the use of the gun. You can see my video on the FN P9 decock removal. I show you exactly how to open all this up, take that out, and put it back together. This is the only gun you've seen handgun wise on my table that has a hammer. I'm not a big fan of external hammer guns. I do prefer striker fire guns like the Glock and the Smith & Wessons. But again, this is still a polymer frame gun. This is really excellent. It's got about 8-pound pull on the double action, about 3.5 pounds on the single action. Excellent reliability, 16 round magazine capacity, comes with 3 mags when you buy it. I caught this on a really great deal where it came with the gun, the 3 mags, plus I got 2 additional magazines. So I got a total of 5 magazines, and it was on sale. So I scored huge on this one. This was just a great find, super reliable, super accurate. There's about 4,000 or 5,000 rounds in this gun. It does get a little bit less use than my Glocks do because those are what I generally prefer. But again, another great option you may want to consider. So, all right, well, Southern Republic, everything you showed us was a 9mm. Yeah, it was. I stand by the fact that 9mm is, in my opinion, the best cartridge out there. I don't buy this BS that, oh, you need to have a 45 for the knockdown power. You know what, dude, that's cool. You can have your 45 with your 8 rounds. I'll take my 19 with my 17 rounds in it, or if I'm really feeling froggy, 33 rounds in it, and I will drop you, your buddies, your crew, and everybody else that's coming at me, and still have rounds left over. I can put you down with a 9mm. It's called practice, people. If you can't shoot at 25 yards, you need to reevaluate how much time you're putting into your gun usage. You need to be accurate on a body size silhouette at least 25 yards. It is very important because you are not always going to be close, and when you get in a gunfight, if you ever get in a gunfight, I pray you never do, distance is your friend. Because the farther away you get, the less accurate most people are. I train to shoot longer distances with my pistol because I want to be able to have distance and still be accurate if I have to defend my life. It's very important. Now, 9 versus 40 versus 45. You know what? If you're gonna go with a gun, I honestly would go either 9mm or 45. I don't like the 40 caliber cartridge. It is a high pressure cartridge. They developed it because, well, they developed it for, I believe, the FBI because some of their people couldn't handle 45 or the 10mm, which they developed for them first. So they went with a 40. They think, oh, well, it's bigger than a 9, has more stopping power. Well, that's okay. I'll keep my 9, save the weight, and still have more rounds and be just as accurate and just as lethal. So you really need to think about this stuff when you're picking your handgun. The next thing on that in regards to handguns is magazines. These are magazines, not clips. Please use the proper nomenclature. In my system, when it comes to the handgun for my bug out bag, my gun will not be residing in my bug out bag. It will be on my person because I carry my gun every day, so I'm not going to have a second weapon in there. I'm gonna have my primary, which will always be on me. You know, unless I'm dead and dying in a ditch, this gun will be on my person, along with these 2 magazines loaded. One will be in the gun, one will be on my hip. So right there, I have 34 rounds on me at all times. If it push comes to shove, I can do some real damage with 34 rounds and then book it out. So again, when it comes to your magazine capacity, you want to have at minimum 2 mags with your gun at all times. If you want to have some extra magazines in your bag, that's another option you can do. Again, you're going to add weight to your system. So for my mileage, I've chosen to go with what I carry on my person as my firearm weaponry. So this keeps the weight out of my bag, off my back, and on my hips on my belt. So that's the option I've chosen to go with. For you, you may want more than that. You may want to have a dedicated gun in your bag. You're more than welcome to do that. I would, you know, it's a great idea. I just chose to save the weight and keep the gun on me. Now, when it comes to having a weapon in your bug out bag or with your bug out bag system like this, what kind of ammo are you going to carry? Now, are you going to carry hollow point, or are you going to carry round nose ammo, bulk ammo, ball ammo, whichever you want to call it? I've chosen to, these 2 magazines will be obviously loaded with a good quality self-defense hollow point. I vary depending on what's available. I'm not super rigid on one brand over another when it comes to hollow point. I believe good self-defense ammo is available from almost every manufacturer at this point. I've shot a lot of it. I think it's great. Now when it comes to hollow point ammunition, you don't want to store hollow points for more than a year. You need to shoot them once a year and shoot up what you have and buy more. There's a whole theory behind this. I've kind of subscribed to it because I get what they're getting at. We'll do a video separate on hollow point and why long-term storage of hollow points is good or bad. We'll deal with it later. But for me, hollow point ammunition in my magazines is the way to go. Now, extra firepower. In my bug out bag system, I have dedicated 100 rounds to be carried in my system. This is heavy. Ammo is heavier than you think. This is a couple pounds right here. It's at least 3 or 4 pounds right there. It's very heavy, very bulky, and takes up room if you keep it in the 50 round boxes it comes in. I chose to go a little bit more streamlined, compact way and make a couple nice rows here and Ziploc this or compress this using a food compressor or food dehydrator, whatever, to get this all nice and compact. It's very thin. It doesn't take up as much room. If I need it, take my knife, slit it open. If I got it, I'll bite and rip this bitch open, get to my ammo. But there's 100 rounds right there that go in my bug out bag system. So I have 134 rounds good to go if I have to get out of Dodge. So that's my choice when it comes to the handgun. So let's move on and we'll move into our next topic. Well, should I do a handgun or should I have a rifle?
All right, so let's talk about rifles. Let me get the camera a little centered here. There we go. So, all right, well, I don't know if I want a handgun in my system. What if I want to go with my rifle? All right, let's talk about those rifles and some rifle options. So this right here is my go-to rifle. This is a Bushmaster upper on a Arizona Armory's Zombie lower. You can see, get my hand out of the way, Arizona Armory's logo and Zombie or safe option. So I just thought it was kind of cool, and they weren't any more expensive than the normal lowers anyone else was selling, you know, a couple years ago when I bought it. This is a really great rifle that I've, it's 2 pieces. It was, you know, a Bushmaster upper that I got on sale and a lower that I put together myself. I like building air lowers. They're actually kind of fun to build. So I've done that. It's a good lower, running a Magpul Moad grip, or Mo grip, or Emerald grip, whatever this one is. I forget. It's got the thing in the bottom for your extra batteries or whatever. I've got a Magpul CTS stock. I like it because it locks, doesn't have the rattle that the other ones do. I'm running a Surefire quad rail on the front. This is a very slim profile one. It's not as bulky as some of the other ones are. 16-inch mid-size barrel. It's a 1-in-9 twist barrel. I've got a low-profile gas block on it because I didn't want to have the front sight on this one. Does have the bayonet lug and the sling ring in the front there. I'm running a GG&G vertical grip on it. I've got Magpul flip up front and rear backup sights, and I'm running a Surefire or a Vortex Strike Fire red dot only system on it. I really feel that this is an excellent option for me. I'm very confident with this gun. I have several thousand rounds in this rifle alone. I have others. But this is really my go-to rifle, and this would be something, if we go to without rule of law, this would be my go-to rifle right here. It's accurate up to about 300 yards. I have shot 300 yards with this just on the dot and the irons. It takes a little bit of skill and practice, but you can do it. You can definitely train yourself to get out there with that kind of distance on a 223 cartridge. Now, the reason I would not necessarily incorporate this in my bug out bag is this is heavy. This is an 8-pound gun, guys. 8.5 pounds at the way it's sitting right now. But this is some serious weight, and magazines are not light. 30 round mag loaded is a little about a pound per mag. So you figure 4 or 5 mags, that's 4 or 5 more pounds you got to carry. Ammo is heavy, so I've chosen to not use a rifle in my bug out system, but go with a handgun. But if I was bugging out, on foot would be the last option. So if I was going to bug out, I would have my pack, and I probably would have my rifle with a chest rig on. I do have a Phalanx chest rig. I'll go into that later. It's a really nice chest rig. It's got a spot for your handgun, your 4 mags, and 4 pistol mags as well. It's lightweight bandolier style system that will aid in working with something like this. But if you don't want to go with handgun, you want a rifle, go with your AR. I like semi-auto rifles. I think you're going to get more mileage out of this than a bolt gun. I love my bolt guns. I'm very accurate with a bolt gun. But if I had to go to war or defend my life at home, this is what I'm going to want right here. And Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, fuck you. From my cold dead hands, you will never get this from me. Never going to happen. Okay, so maybe a different variant. So this is another variation of an AR-15. This one, let's flip it over here so you can see. This one does have a front sight post as opposed to the low pro gas block the other one had. This one is running the same medium profile 16-inch 1-in-9 twist barrel. Does have the bayonet lug on it. This one is running a Magpul. What the hell are they called? Shit. Cut here, bring back. A Magpul handguard system with Magpul vertical grip. This one does have a light on it. This is a Surefire. I forget which mod. It's a D2, Surefire D2. It's an older one. I had this when I was in the service. Push button, or it's just push for momentary, or twist for consistent. This only is 80 lumens. Now here's the thing, guys. There are a lot of great flashlight options with high lumen output. They're not great for a rifle, in my opinion. If you're going to have a rifle mounted light, you want it less than 100 lumens. That's my opinion, because over 100 lumens in a dark confined place, that light will overpower your red dot sight. I've seen it happen. I've actually had it happen to me. And that's the reason I don't want anything higher than 100 lumens on my rifle. So this is an older 80 lumen model. You can get these used for a pretty decent price. This one is running an aim point red dot with a sunshade. I've got a Magpul backup iron sight on this one. This upper is just a no-name upper that I built myself. I built the upper part of this because I wanted to learn how to put one together, so I did it. And this is a really great upper. It served me very well. I've got about 5,000 rounds in this rifle. This is running on a Plum Crazy polymer lower. This has about 8,000 rounds on this lower because it's been on a different rifle before, and this is a newer upper that went on this one. Running a Magpul grip and a Magpul, just the cheaper stock. This one does have the extended charging handle on it for left-handed shooting. I am a left-handed shooter. Always have been. Just shoot better left-handed. So this has the grip on it where it allows me to charge easier from my left hand, because normally the piece is on the other side. So this is a really nice option. This one, I built this entire thing. I scored this lower complete for $100 a couple years ago. Good luck with that now. About $200 for the upper, so $300. Then all the Magpul and accessories, minus the optic. This is a $500 AR, $450 AR and then a couple $100 for your optic. So, but the optic you don't need. You can run an iron sights only rifle and be just as effective. So that's my opinion. If you're going to go with a rifle over a handgun, get yourself a good battle rifle. And get trained. Don't just get one and say, okay, I've got one, I'm good to go now. That's the wrong way to do this. You need to train with your weapons. You need to put rounds down range. Yes, I know it's expensive, but you know what? You need to train. So if you don't want to, if you want to use a handgun and you don't want to spend a lot of money, that's where that M&P 22 comes in really well, because it's identical to the M&P 9. So you can have both of those and you can train with either one, allowing you to have the same size and weight, and all the accessories are ambidextrous to both. So it's a good training method. For my Glock, I have the 22 upper and mag combo that just swaps out on the Glock, slide in the 22 mag, and keep shooting, but you're still simulating the same weight and size of the gun, so you're getting the training on the gun without having to expend more money for the more expensive ammunition. Again, you may want to consider reloading. Just a thought. Alright, well, I don't want a handgun or a rifle, I want a shotgun. Okay. Get yourself a shotgun. So, this is mine. There's lots of shotguns out there. This actually is probably one of the cheapest shotguns you can buy. This is a Mossberg Maverick 88. Maverick 88, yep, the Maverick 88. This is the predecessor to the Mossberg 500. Every Mossberg 500 accessory works on this system except for your pump handle. This is a pinned on pump handle, so you can't replace this for like the pistol grip style or a different variation. That's the only thing this model cannot do that the 500 series can, and I picked this up for $125. It had a pistol grip on it when I got it, but this extending stock option was like $50. So for $175, $10 for the shell saddle, so $170. I have a really great shotgun, and I've put several hundred rounds through this shotgun, and it's very accurate. Slugs. This one can handle 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. I do happen to run, this is a 2 3/4 double aught that I'm running on this one. This is 12 gauge. I prefer 12 gauge over 20 or 16 or the 410. I think just 12 gauge has the better stopping power. It's not any heavier than any of the other options, so why not have the Mac Daddy style for the same weight and everything else. But if you want to go with the shotgun, get yourself a good 12 gauge. These have a lot less recoil than you think, guys. I've had my younger sister, who's a very, very petite young girl, can fire this gun all day, and it doesn't really hurt her at all. It's got a decent butt pad on it, good amount of padding right there. So she can sit there, bam, bam, bam. We can skeet shoot. I've skeet shot with this gun. I don't need any other weapons for it. But this is a great option and a very inexpensive one. Something to think about. Alright guys, so we've gotten through handguns, we've gotten through rifles, we've talked about our shotguns. You get to make the decision on what it is that you want and what will be best for your system. And yes, it's unloaded. I've already checked. Relax. Woosah. Calm your sphincter. So let's move on. Let's talk about knives. Oh yeah, you knew that was coming. Alright folks, let's talk about knives, baby. Alright, so in your system, I believe there's 3 knives you need to have. You can have more, but I think there's a minimum of 3 knives you should have. The first of which is a good folding knife. Now, in my system, in the previous videos, you've seen the 2 folding knives that I've already showed. I've showed you the Bird Cara 2, which is a more inexpensive version of the Spyderco Endura 4. And I've showed you the Ontario Rat 1, which I think is probably the best value folding knife on the market. For less than $30, you get a knife that I would put my life on any day of the week. So let's talk about what you need
to have knife-wise. I've chosen two knives in my system, fixed blades, that I believe are excellent knives for usage. This is a Benchmade CSK 2 fixed blade knife. It is a full tang design. It is 1095 high carbon steel. It's a clip point blade. Excellent, excellent design. Great handle material. I forget what it's like, a rubberized material. But even if your hands are sweaty, it allows you to have a nice grip on it. I've done a little bit of work with this knife. You can see some usage, but mostly this knife hasn't been abused too much. This would be more of a self-defense knife used for quartering game if you had to. This knife has a good enough tip where you could perch up and you could field dress and quarter your animal if you need to do a little hunting. This would be good for small chopping work, for getting your fire started with a striker. That would be excellent use for this knife. I wouldn't say so much this would be something you'd be doing your bushcrafting, some bushcrafting with, but if you're gonna need to get into getting firewood and something like that, you're gonna probably want to go with something a little bit bigger. This is the Kabar large heavy Bowie. This is a great knife. This is, I believe, 1085 high carbon steel, not 1095. I'm not entirely sure what the whole differences are on there. I've never really looked it up. I know it's a great knife. I have two. I have one that I use for my camping now that I've done a lot of tree busting with. You do a great job when it comes to breaking your trees down and making your firewood, getting your kindling to the size where you think you're going to need it. This is a great knife. You have a 9-inch blade on this knife. It's Bowie style. It's a 1/4 inch thick piece of steel. Excellent full flat ground all the way through, except for where you get your back swedge right there, which if you wanted to, you could sharpen. I haven't gotten around to it on this one. Excellent handle. You have that where this nice pinky swell right there where you can grip into it. You can choke back on it for more chopping ability, or you can get a full grip for smaller chopping tasks. Does have a nice flow through lanyard hole for you to put a lanyard on it while you're doing your wood processing. This is a great option. This is a $50 knife, guys. I mean, this is an excellent, excellent knife that you can get for around $50 on Amazon. So it's a great choice. There are other more expensive options that are great, you know, the Tom Brown tracker if that's your fancy. But I think I can do just as well with my $50 knife that you would do with your $300 knife. So think about that when you're deciding what kind of knives you want to have in your bug out bag. So these are my two fixed blade options. Now, of course, having a good folding knife with you is very, very important. Now, we're going to branch out past just the knives and talk a little bit about EDC and the redundancy concept. Now, I carry a knife on me every day. Sometimes I have two, depending on how frisky I'm feeling. But I carry things like full-size folders, like the ZT 0560 Hinderer, the Benchmade McHenry Williams, or the Emerson Commander. So those are just a couple of options in the the folding blade world that I choose to carry. I like full-size tactical blades. They fit my hand better. I have no problem with having the added weight on in my shorts. It's not a big deal. I have a belt, could cinch it up if I have to. That is, you know, an option. So again, if you look at it realistically, I'm always going to have something like this on me. A relatively expensive, these are definitely not cheap knives, but they're high quality, reliable, durable knives. If you're going to buy a good knife, buy a good knife. You know, there's a lot of inexpensive knives that will do a great deal of use for you. Let me throw a few more options up here. Let's move these out of the way and we'll just go over a few more options. Let's kind of throw back to the fixed blades. Well, Greg, those fixed blades are nice, but they're a little more than I wanted to spend on a knife. Well, okay. So let's go for a regular old school Kabar USMC edition. Leather stacked handle, 7-inch blade, nice choil here, or handguard, good pommel, full tang design. This one I've used for fire starting before. As you can see, it's worn off the black finish there. Just done some basic work. I did sharpen the swedge. It's not the prettiest job in the world, but it's sharp and it works. Comes with a nice sheath. These are about 60 bucks. This one's more expensive than this one, just to throw that out there. All right, so let's get back to folding knives. All right, well, I want a high quality folding knife that's not as expensive as those are. Okay, you know, that's about $280. These were about $130-ish, $220-ish. This is about $1 1/4. You can get these. The Spyderco Paramilitary 2, a little less expensive. Or you could consider a Kershaw Blur. Excellent 3.5-inch blade. You get those for about 50 bucks. If you want a big knife for a good price, how about the Spyderco Resilience? Look at that giant freaking blade, guys. Holy cow. That thing is massive. This is a $40 knife. This is like 45 bucks online. That's a little too big? Okay, well, you could go with a Spyderco Tenacious. That's like a staple right there, guys. That's a $35 knife, you know? Great knife. Love Spyderco. I carried a Tenacious for years, for at least 2 years before I started getting into more higher end tactical style knives. I still carry my Spyderco Tenacious on a regular basis. I love this little guy. There's a review about that one you could watch. There's a review about this guy you could watch. There's a review about this guy you can watch. But don't worry, there'll be annotated links somewhere around this area. You can click on to watch those videos as well. But again, guys, having good knives is really important. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can get an awesome, I think, 4-inch, 4 1/4 inch bladed knife. The Spyderco Resilience, excellent knife, G10 handles, 4-way reversible pocket clip. This is just a slightly bigger version of the military for a quarter of the price. This is a great, great knife, guys. Yes, it's made in China. Yes, it's 8CR13 MOV. This is an excellent knife. You can be a novice at knife sharpening and continue to get a wicked sharp edge on this knife all the time and have a great, great folding tactical utility knife for about 45 bucks. So this is something I would recommend to anybody who's really, really thinking about getting a bug out bag set up. This folding knife will be a key to any good bug out bag. I think you should highly consider this guy as an option for you. You can do a lot of work with this knife. Now, I would not baton with any thick folding knife. I just wouldn't. You're just going to put a lot of stress on that pivot and on the knife. You're probably going to break them. That's why I've chosen to have something like the Kabar large heavy Bowie, because this is a $50 knife and I can baton all day long on this thing. It's a 1/4 inch thick slab of steel that you can beat to death, and you can keep a nice edge on this with very minimal work. And it's got a nice coating on the blade, so you don't have to really worry too much about keeping it oiled and things like that. Especially here in Arizona, oiling knives isn't the biggest thing in the world because you don't have the humidity rust issues that you're going to get other places in the country or in the world, depending on where you are. All right, guys, so we've covered our weapons, we've covered our guns, we've covered our knives. Let's move on. Let's hit up one of the last things on the list, clothing.
All right, guys, so we've talked about our guns, we've talked about our knives. Trust me, I could go hours on both subjects, but I won't do that to you. Keep it short, concise, as much to the point as possible. Let's talk about clothes. Realistically, let's talk about what kind of clothes you're going to want in your bug out bag. So let's do just the most basics, okay? In your bug out bag, I have, this is I think at least a minimum, 2 pairs of socks. I've got medium length socks and I've got the no-show socks. I got one of each. I live in Arizona. It's warm pretty much year-round. Even in the winter, I still wear shorts every day. It's just a daily thing for me. I'm a shorts person. I don't like to wear pants if I don't have to. I'm lucky I have a job that lets me wear shorts. It's nice. But I have 2 pairs of socks in my bug out bag at all times. I keep my extra clothes that you see in a large freezer Ziploc bag. I try to roll it up as much, and I have it in the bottom of the bag because hopefully it's the last thing I'm going to need to access is extra clothing, immediately. So 2 pairs of good socks, clean socks, guys. Clean is the key. You don't want your bag to smell like a foot, at least not right away. Good pairs of socks that you can count on. So 2 pairs of socks. Some type of hat. I wear a hat a lot. I have short hair, so I can do stuff with my hair, or I can just wear a hat most of the time, which is fine. A good hat to cover your face is a good option. Baseball style hats aren't always the best when you're out in the sun for long terms, so a boonie hat like this is a great option. Yes, it's a camo one, unfortunately. They don't sell too many colors in these options that aren't just camos, so this would be really a last resort. I would probably want to be outside of a town or a city before I put something like this on, just because I don't want to look tactical. But I have it because it's going to protect my face, my ears, the back of my neck. It's going to give you that coverage from the sun that is important. So a boonie style hat is good. When it comes to hat options, something you may want to consider, here in Arizona it's not necessarily as big a deal, but a beanie. A good beanie, a warm wool style beanie to keep your head warm. If you're in a colder area where it does get really cold at night, you may want to consider that. You lose most of your heat from your head, so having something to keep your head warm is a very important option. Another option when it comes to clothing is just a schmog. You've seen everybody with these things. I just have a tan one, tan and black, because I'm in Arizona, it's desert. This is another way, if you don't go with some kind of hat like this, you can wrap your face and head with this, just have your sunglasses. This is going to protect your face, your neck, your ears, the back of your neck from the sun, help you not get a sunburn. So this is another option. I do have one of these. You can also use this as something to put on the ground so that you're not sitting directly on the ground when you have to put your bag down or something like that. This is also big enough I can wrap it over my backpack and make it a little more camouflaged if I am in a desert area and I need to stash my pack. I can kind of use this as a camouflage for that if I need to. But this is just nice to have. They're cheap. They don't take up much room. It's good to have. An extra t-shirt. I didn't grab one out of my bag. It's sitting over there on the floor. Just an extra t-shirt. I just have a plain tan t-shirt in my bag. I went to frickin' Target. They had light brown, like kind of a tannish t-shirt in my size. Good one. I just picked it up, threw it in my pack. It's nothing impressive. It's an $8 t-shirt. Just to have an extra change of clothes. Now that's the clothing I choose to carry. I've opted not to bring have an extra pair of pants or an extra pair of shorts, just because I'm trying to save on weight and space. And an extra pair of pants and an extra pair of shorts are very bulky. They're going to take up a lot of room, and I was starting to run out of it, so it was something I chose to exclude from my bug out bag. It's a hit or miss thing. I know how to sew, so if I do rip the pants or the shorts that I'm wearing, I do know how to fix that in the field. I have the little sewing kit that you saw earlier, so I can make minor repairs, and hopefully within that first 72 hours, I'm not going to need a second pair of clothes. I can do with what I have and keep going, and then hopefully get myself somewhere established, and I could get a hold of some extra clothes or some other clothes that I can change into and freshen up that way. So that's my choice. You may want that extra pair of pants where you live. It may be something that would be a good idea depending on where in the country or where in the world you are. So that's kind of one of those, your mileage may vary concepts. Yours is going to be different from mine. That's a decision you need to make. Now, if you're going to do that, you may want to consider just a pair of shorts. These were really cheap. Rothko. You get these on Amazon for like $13. Just a pair of khaki cargo shorts. Nothing special about them. They do have drawstring waist, so you don't have to have a belt to wear these. So that may be a good option for you. Or you could go with something maybe a little more like these. These are not the 511 tactical pants. These are actually made by LA Police Scare. These are the elastic basic operator pants. They're basically just glorified cargo pants. They've got a couple extra little pockets right here on the hips in the front. Nice deep cargo pockets, reinforced in the knees, reinforced seams on the back. You can get these from LA Police Gear for about $20. There's like 6 different colors you can choose from. Those are really great pants. They don't stand out like they'd be military style pants. They just look like a normal pair of cargo pants, khaki cargo pants. And that will give you the ability to have a little extra space to carry some things in there. If you hadn't noticed, I don't know if you're a Stone Temple Pilots fan, but this is an old Stone Temple Pilots t-shirt from back in the 90s. The whole retro rock band t-shirt thing, I dig it. I like wearing rock band t-shirts. All right, so that's the clothing. That's, shirt, socks, pants, shorts. I try to wear a pair of khaki, light tan or dark brown khaki cargo shorts or pants on a daily basis. I prefer cargo shorts and pants as opposed to denim jeans. Just can't really fit all the crap I like to carry in a pair of denim jeans. They're good, but for my mileage, khaki cargos are the way to go. Moving on, this is really important, guys. Good pair of shoes. Yes, I know, they're freaking neon green and blue. You can't find unoffensive shoes anymore. They're all this crazy neon crap. But it's a good pair of running shoes, cross-trainer style running shoes. I have high arches, so I specifically went more with a stability shoe. It's got a little more reinforcing right here where the arch is, so that I don't walk on the blades of my foot like I normally do. But to go with these, you want to consider having a good pair of insoles. These are the Superfeet insoles. These is the orange. They've got like a plastic reinforced arch and heel support, and just a gel supported ball of your foot area. These are really nice. These slide into almost any shoe that you have, and these will give you a little bit more support and help you walk properly, which will alleviate stress in your back, neck, shoulders, all that stuff. So a good pair of sneakers coupled with a good insole will be I know, just ridiculous colors, right? Go figure. But that will be just do a world of good for you guys. So we've gone through it, guys. We made it through the bug out bag experience. So there's going to be 2 things we're going to hit on before we finish up here. We're quickly going to go over EDC and some things you may want to consider carrying as your EDC, your everyday carry, having with you. This way, in case you have to bug out, you have an extra layer of redundancy already built into the pack, which is on your person. And then the last thing after we talk about that is going to be packing our bug out bag. And I'm going to get the camera down here on the floor. We're going to take all the gear that I have, and we're actually going to pack the bag and just kind of go over how I choose to level things and where to kind of add things in. We'll do that pretty quick. I'm just going to kind of put everything in there and we'll go over it real fast. But we're almost there, guys, so let's talk about EDC and things you may want to have on you on an everyday basis. All right, guys, let's talk about it real quick. Let's get our EDC out of the way. So as always, in my EDC, first item up is my Glock 19. The Glock 19 is always loaded, 1 mag in the chamber, 1 mag in the gun, 1 round in the chamber, and 1 extra magazine. So that's how I choose to carry my gun. So right there we have our firearm. Next up we have our knife. My carry today happens to be my Benchmade McHenry Williams. Love this knife, absolutely great knife. Almost cut myself there. Just an excellent, great knife, very lightweight, large blade,
Excellent price, about $125, $130 for this knife, worth every penny in my opinion. Multi-tool. Well, I'm not always wanting to carry a heavy multi-tool, so a lot of times I just opt to go with my little Swiss Victorinox Cadet. This is a great little option. You've got your blade, you've got your can opener and small flathead bottle opener, and you've got your can opener and regular full-size flathead. Very simple. You just have the 4 little tools on it. You also get a small nail file and kind of awl almost that you can use it for. But super compact, super lightweight option. Gives you some of the features of a multi-tool without the weight of having an actual multi-tool. Now I do happen to carry a EDC bag with me to work. You know, it's something I can throw my lunch in, put my snacks in. I have a regular multi-tool in there. I have a pair of gloves in there. I have a few other odds and ends that I want to have with me in there. But this is the core. If I walk out of the door, this is what I'm going to have on me. I also carry my cell phone, which is an iPhone 5 with me, and my wallet, which is just a real slim card wallet with my cards and some cash in it because I don't like sitting on a wallet. And last but not least, we mentioned it before, the Olight T10. So we can get that to focus there for you. This is a multi-mode flashlight that gives you the ability to have high, medium, and low beam with SOS and strobe feature. The high beam, I believe, is about 210 lumens, down to about 5 lumens on the multi-stages that it has. We can show you real quick. So that's high, you twist, medium, low, super high, medium, low, super slow. So there's actually 5 options on here. I generally keep it on this lowest one, so I'm gonna get the longest battery life. You double click it, you get your strobe, you double click again, you get your SOS, and double click again, you're back to your normal light. Wait a few seconds and click it, and you'll just go back to the light instead of cycling through the other options. So that is just kind of the core of my everyday carry. I have my Cadet, my knife, my gun, and my flashlight. Everything else may vary, but that's the core of it, along with my cell phone and a wallet. But I didn't want to go get my wallet out of my shorts, so I changed. I'm wearing basketball shorts right now, so deal. All right, guys, that's EDC. So let's put this bug out bag together and let's get it done and be done with the bug out bag concept already. You're with me? All right, we're almost done. All right, guys, so we're back here on the reviewing wall. We're gonna talk about packing your bag and kind of the things you want maybe towards the top of the bag as opposed to stuff you're not gonna access as much that are gonna be probably good to go on the bottom of your pack. So let's just kind of go over some really basic items. So with the Kelty Red Wing, we know we have the top compartment, our 2 sides, our main compartment, and our front zipper compartment. So in the bag, I kind of have it structured in a way that the things I believe I'm going to need most accessible are going to be in the periphery compartments as opposed to the main area. So like I said before, on the left-hand side, which is this side, that's where my medical kit is going to ride, the large medical kit. The small medical kit actually rides right here in this top pouch along with my maps of Arizona. That way if I need it, this is a quick pull down, shrink medical kit's out, we're good to go. That's for my little cuts and wounds. It's also kind of my backup kit. If we really got to get going and I have to get into this main medical kit, then I have that little mini med kit as a backup, a last resort. It's kind of saving it for me if I need certain supplies for myself that I'm not going to use on anyone else, that I'm not going to want to use until I absolutely have to. So that's, again, the redundancy in having 2 medical kits. So on this right-hand side here, I like to carry one of my fixed blade knives, the smaller one, the Benchmade. I like to carry that one right here, along with my shemagh, my hat. Those go in this side right here. I also, right here in the very top that I push that down, I keep one of those energy bars, those Cliff bars I have. This way, if I need it, little snack right there. The other Cliff Bars go in here. Some of our smaller things, like our light sticks, our bug spray, our sunscreen lotion, those are all going to go in this front pouch so that they're easily accessible. So I can just drop my pack, bam, bam, pull it out, good to go. In the bottom of this front compartment, I also keep things like the space blankets and the poncho. This way, if I need those, they're just right here, zip it down, I can grab that stuff really easily. I also keep a folding knife here, I keep one of my multi-tools right here, and I keep one of my extra flashlights right there as well. This way I can get to that kind of stuff very quickly, very easily. Now, in our top compartment, which we can open up here, which is right here, it's not a huge opening, but it's definitely the whole top compartment here. In that top compartment, I keep my communications kit. Now the radio, and someone actually asked us about this, a young lady may point it out, where's the radio in your communication kits, Greg? Well, the radio doesn't fit very nicely in that pack, and I also don't want it in the top of my bag where if anything falls on it, or if I go backwards, or if someone jumps onto me, it's gonna get crushed. So I choose not to put that in the small comm kit, but I keep that in the center of the bag, kind of towards the top, where I can just open the main pack up and easily access that item. The other communication mini kit sits in the top, so I get to my extra light, my headlamp, my compass, and a mini flashlight if I need to get into those, and the radios. I actually did pick up a set of radios. Let me grab those here. I got a charger in the closet in there. It's kind of cool, but I put that in there, and I picked these bad boys up. These are just some Motorola. They're 16-mile radios. These are just the normal frequency ones. I picked these up for about 25 bucks. Now you're not going to get 16 miles. You can maybe get a mile or two at the most in normal usage, but in peak conditions on a mountain to a mountaintop, you might get 16 miles. But these were really inexpensive. They run on AA batteries. They also have a charger. So I'm going to charge these up, and I'm going to see what kind of battery life, get a little testing on, see what kind of battery life this gives me, and decide if I want to use rechargeables or if I just want to go with regular AA's in here. So that's another option. But these are also going to ride right here in that top compartment, where I can get these out, throw one to my partner or the person I'm with, and if we get split up, hey, yo, where you at? We get that going. In the center compartment, I figured I'd save you the boredom of watching me stack crap in here, and I could do this a lot easier just kind of talking about it. So in this back flap right here, that's where that big tarp I showed you is going to go. It just slides right in nice and flat, about an inch, fills that whole back up there, gives a nice padding between all the crap and my back, so that's always helpful too, having that padding. Then in the bottom here, I'm going to have my extra shirt, my socks, the extra ammo because it's heavy and I can lay it right flat on the bottom. And then I'm going to put things like my large Kabar knife is going to go right down the side. And then my water purifying kit will go right on one of the sides there. And then I'm going to start stacking my mini kits right up the center here. I'm going to slide my food right in the front of that. This way it's packed up against the front here, where if I rip this down, the food's one of the first things I can get to. And then those little kits are just going to sit in just like this, flat on their back, stacked up, where I can open this pack up and just pull one out. And I have them all, I know which one's which. I have different hooks on the rings, so I know what to grab when I need it. But you may want to try to get color coordinated ones if that helps you, or put different color lanyard loops on the zippers. That's also another way to color coordinate. I know because they're going to be in a specific order, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to give you that order because it's an order I'm going to remember. It may not work for you. You may want to come up with your own system for that. I can't do all the work. You do have to help yourself a little bit, guys, so just saying that. But again, this is going to be how the bug out bag works. I am going to have 2 regular small water bottles right there in those little side pockets, just to have a little water to get started with. That's it, guys. We've done it. We've built our bug out bag. You can do this. I've done it. You now have all the knowledge I have spent 3 months putting together is now there for you. Take this information, go out there, make your bug out bag. Hey guys, I would love to see video responses of your bug out bags. Feel free to post those below. If you're a douche, you're gonna get pulled out. But if you're a good cat and you got some interesting information, put it below. I want to see it. I want to hear from you guys. As always, please subscribe. It's in one of those corners somewhere. Hey, as always, Semper Fi. Have a good day.
So you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it one shot at a time.